Hello there, Samuel Shelley here. I just want to give a quick summary of what I've accomplished during Ascent 1 and the challenges and struggles that I've had to overcome during it. Overall, production has had a rough start, but it's already taken shape pretty quickly. Programming has been going particularly well at least, and it has been the smoothest part of the process. A lot of the core mechanics that are necessary for this project to be complete are already in place, such as the bonus meter being fully functional already. The weapon equipment system is complete, basic movement and camera movement are in, core AI behavior is already in as well. I believe I'm already about a third of the way done in terms of programming, and I'm expecting to be about 2/3 of the way done by the end of Ascent 2. Art production in particular has been pretty difficult for the whole process, but recently I've hit a breakthrough that has allowed me to figure out the visual aesthetic that I want to go for the game, while also keeping production time realistic. And I've also purchased a sprite as well, which is already helping out a ton. So right now I have about 10% of the art assets complete, and I'm expecting to have about half of them done by the end of Ascent 2. So while figuring out the art direction to take with this project, I've had to undergo a pretty major scope change in terms of the game's visuals. Originally, I was going to pursue a more traditional pixel art style, but I began to quickly realize that this was above my abilities, and it was also going to be above how much time I had for this project. I was going to have to start sacrificing entire game mechanics in order to make it feasible to create that kind of art for them, so I've instead decided to go with a Space Invaders plus Baba Zoo visual style, with a strong emphasis on silhouettes. Pictured here is an example of one of the sprites I've created. This is the player character right here. So what I've decided to go for is a pseudo-rotoscope effect, but very selectively. So only the living parts or the organic parts of enemies or the player character are going to have this effect. Anything mechanical or machine-oriented, such as the platform or the implant on the back of his head here, are going to be much more static and will hardly move. The rotoscoping effect on the living parts adds this really gelatinous and haunting look that I really like, and I think it suits my game quite well. Be sure to let me know what you think of it, though. I'm still making some adjustments to the game's art style, but I think I've finally found my footing and I'm ready to continue. So I've had to downgrade the game's visual scope as a result of this. I'm still going to make great effort to make sure it looks good overall, but I think this was a necessary step for my project. Coming down the pipeline for Climb 5, I'm expecting to have proper sprites in for the 2 enemy types already in the game, an actual score system in, and actual UI elements being implemented as well. By Climb 9, I'm hoping to have completed art for all proposed main content, excluding the final boss. The final boss mechanics implemented, a decently sized game level, roughly about a minute long, a scrolling background, all weapons and bonus variants implemented in full UI functionality, 3rd enemy type in, and basic win-loss condition screens. As for what I was unable to get to during this ascent, critically speaking, the sprite artwork for the enemies soon to be fixed though. The weaponry still needs to be fully implemented, and an actual UI needs to be added instead of the text at the bottom of the screen here. Sorting out the problems with the art style took a lot more time than I anticipated. Pretty important to the project, sprite work for all the projectiles is needed as well. If necessary, I could recycle them between weapons, but I would like to avoid that if possible. I would like them to be visually distinct. I don't think I will have to, but I might have to cut out the 3rd enemy type depending on how complex I determine him to be. Again, that's more of a last resort thing though. Well, that's all I've got to show you for this ascent. Thank you for watching my presentation, and have a good one.